Hey, my name is Bryant. I'm 19 years old. When I was a kid, I spent a lot of time playing soccer, basketball, hockey, anything that I could kick or throw. I loved the feeling of being a part of a team. I was always scared to be the odd one out, and I did what I could do to fit in. And because nobody around me was focused on God, neither was I. In grade 3, my family and I moved to a small town, far away from my friends and the places I knew. I found it really difficult to make friends there. It felt like if you weren't born there, you'd always be an outsider. I remember going out to play recess and being the last kid picked for a team, or I'd be in class picking partners and I'd be the one left out. And for me, who had always been such a social guy and knowing how to fit in, being an outsider was really painful. Even though I was really young, I remember vividly the hurt and loneliness I felt. In grade 7, we moved back to Chilliwack, and I ended up going to a school where all of my old hockey friends went. Hockey had always been a huge part of my life, and it's something that I'd always known I would pursue, even after high school. Being back in a town that I knew, with friends that made me feel welcome, felt great after so many years of feeling like I was on the outside looking in. I belonged again on my hockey team, at school. I always had people around me. But in grade 12, all that changed. I was playing junior B hockey and was cut from the team. I was devastated of this loss and turned to food as my main source of comfort. I spun into a pretty bad mental state and was up to 300 pounds. I couldn't find the motivation to work off the weight, which deepened my lack of confidence and made me question my worth. But I knew that I wanted to play hockey again and be a part of a team again, so eventually I got to work and lost 55 pounds in 3 months. I went on to play hockey after graduation in Alberta and had the most fun I've ever had during a season. A few teams around Canada, and actually a couple overseas in Poland and Sweden, were interested in me coming to play for them. But then COVID happened and all those options went away. I ended up moving back home, and being a super outgoing guy, the loneliness that came with COVID was really hard for me. No more teams, no more games, no more opportunities. And I didn't really know where my life was headed. It felt like just when things were starting to go right, it all got ripped away from me, and I felt pretty low. It was right around this time that my family and I felt like it was time to go back to church. The first time walking through the doors at Southside was one of the most joyful experiences of my life. I never felt like I was an outsider right from the first Sunday. I felt so welcomed by so many people. Because of COVID, my first time attending an in-person gathering was actually when I got baptized. When my mom told me that her and my dad were getting baptized, I knew it was my next step too. I wanted to take a leap of faith and start fresh. It was Lucas, one of the pastors at Southside, who baptized me, and he had a special place in my heart because of that. Before he dunked me, he was really concerned about me cranking my head on the other side of the tank, so he made sure I buckled at the knees, and I will never forget what he said after. He said, "If I can baptize you, I can baptize anybody." I smiled so big when he said that and thought it was just awesome. It's a first experience that I'll never forget. Immediately after I was baptized, as we were heading out of the church, Lucas quickly pulled me aside and started to talk to me about the young adult guys group that he had led and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and I said, for sure I'm in. It's been awesome connecting with Lucas and the rest of the guys in our group, being able to talk about life, just hang out with such an incredible group of guys. It's awesome. I feel like I've found people who accept me as I am, and I feel a true sense of belonging. Shortly after joining my small group, I started serving in the youth, and that has been such a great way to help and spread God's word to the younger generation. Little did I know at the time that getting baptized wasn't just an awesome next step in following God's plan for me, it was also a turning point for me in my life. It would set me up for more than I could ever imagine. Taking my next step of baptism was the best decision I could have ever made for this phase of my life, and I'm so glad I did it. In the last few months at Southside, I've met some amazing new people and learned so many new things. I'm so thankful that through all the twists and turns in my life, God has still been leading me. He's brought me to exactly where I am now. He's teaching me not to dwell on the negative thoughts that I have about myself that used to tear me up inside. I'm learning not to sweat the small stuff and care so much about what other people think of me. For a long time, I felt like I was walking around sort of slumped, feeling bad about myself and really discouraged. Now with God on my side and some amazing new friends, I'm walking taller than ever.